Unforgettable, of course. Um, this is a song that just recently kind of crossed my path because a couple students were working on it. Now, they were working on vocal versions, so I was working on ways of coming up with a reasonable way for them to play a chord progression, which has always baffled me over the years. I never really tried to analyze it till recently, but just always enjoyed listening to it. But there was always something really odd about it. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. This lesson is going to be different than any other one I've done because I'm not going to give you tablature to my arrangement. I'm going to teach you to make your own arrangement. That's what we're going to do with this lesson. We're going to talk about the chords and the melody, different ways of playing the chords, different choices for finding the melody notes. So this is going to be, well, we'll just see how this goes. A little bit of background on the song, though. It was, of course, written in 1951 by Irving Gordon. Now, Gordon is not known as a major composer in the Tin Pan Alley days of the 40s and 50s, 30s and 40s and 50s, really, going back to Gershwin even. But he had another song that was made popular or famous by Duke Ellington, Prelude To A Kiss. Most of the rest of his songs were kind of like novelty songs, not really serious. They're not part of the main culture. You would recognize a few, I'm sure. But anyway, enough on Irving Gordon. But Nat King Cole, of course, defined this song and made it like very few other people ever bothered to do it. It's kind of like it was over when he recorded it. So, but it's a beautiful progression, and lots of people do play it, and it's a popular cover for bands, for jazz bands, and stuff like that. But and of course the duet done with Natalie, after the fact, many years after the fact, is a whole different story that just is stunning. But it does make a really cool guitar instrumental, and every time I play this, it's going to be a little, maybe even a lot different. What I would usually, like I kind of started there with a meandering intro, we're going to be working from the lead sheet from the real book in this case that just shows the melody and the chords, but we will talk about some options for the chords and possible some substitutions and things like that. The biggest thing is finding a way to where do you want to voice each chord so that the melody notes are easy to reach. I would typically play this maybe through twice, and the first time through a little dreamy, kind of like I did right there, but then I might pick it up. So like I might come in with a turnaround, let's see, might have ended it here. So like a little more rhythm the next time. Maybe strumming. So it could have a little more life than what I played. Anyway, so it can be played lots of different ways. I mentioned something unusual about the song. What key is it in? There is no easy answer. It's in two different keys, at least, at different times. And typically, when Nat King Cole did this, he did it starting on an F chord, F major 7. We're going to be doing this starting on G major 7, which makes you think it might be in the key. That might be chord 1, because pretty soon we might go to chord 4 of that, and we do. Certainly, we come out of the G major 7 part, we go into a C major 7 part. Sounds just like the key of G to me. But then in the third line, each line is 4 measures, what I'm talking about here. We're looking at a 32 measure song. By the time we get to the third line, it's gone to I'm talking back in the key of G. So if you're looking at the chart that I have, that's where we're talking about. We're forgetting the fact that Nat did this in F. But when we get to the third line, it now goes to chord 4 in C. The fourth step of maybe our original key of G. Oh, and where does it end? It ends on a C chord. The song starts in the key of G and eventually ends up in the key of C. And it goes into the key of C halfway through the first half. I guess that'd be a quarter of the way through. And then starts the second half in G again. And then halfway through the second half settles back into C and finally ends on a C chord. So I played a very unusual, this came straight from the fake book, by the way. I noodled around with a chord progression in the beginning. I just played a C chord for a few beats. Messed around with a C major 7 chord. And then went into some 2-5 progressions in different keys. The first one, and this is at the bottom of the page, so if you've got the page printed up there and you're looking at it, I went to B flat minor 7 and E flat 7. And we'll talk about all these chord shapes as the lesson evolves. And then a whole step lower, I went to A flat minor 7 and D flat 7. And then A minor 7 and D7, or D9 if I throw the E in there. And so what we had was 3 2-5 progressions, starting with B flat minor to E flat, then A flat minor to D flat 7, and then A minor to D7. That's what sets us up. That's 2 and 5 in the key of G. So once we hear that 2 and 5, we hear the A minor 7 to D7 or D9. Could even be a flatted 9. And then we get into the G major 7. So we do need to set up the opening to make it feel like we're in the key of G. And especially if we're going to run through it twice, we need to finish our melody on C, or finish with a C chord of some sort, and then work our way back into the key of G. And what I did right there, let me think, what did I play right there? I ended on a C major 7, went to a C6, and then kind of an A minor 7, with just playing an A and a G and a C, and then a D7, maybe with A in the bass. All I'd have to do is move my G down to F sharp, or I could even put an A flat in the bass, making it sound like an A7 chord, an A flat 7 chord, sorry. And that is a good opening chord for our G major 7. Anyway, okay, there's so much cool stuff in here that I got to get to it. I didn't mean to ramble on this much about just the background and the what's coming up part of the song. But there you have it. We are going to work our way through this probably like 4 measures at a time. Probably 4 measures per segment is about what I'm going to see what happens. We'll talk about some of the possibilities. So dig in, brush up on your theory, and we'll take a look at putting it together, a solo version of Unforgettable.